Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of this week's episode of the CW's The 100. This week we've seen Season 3, Episode 6, entitled Bitter Harvest. And, so, once again, I apologize for the lateness of this review, but, my work schedule and trying to balance a personal life, it's getting kind of difficult not to have to push these shows back, but I get to them as soon as I can. I enjoy the episodes, and I get my thoughts out there as quickly as I can, as I just said. It is after 3 a.m. right now, so I don't know how long this review is going to be, but I did just watch the episode, heavily enjoyed it. Again, just a great season of The 100 so far. I've really been liking it. It's been a great show all around, but the season's really hitting for me too, so I'm happy with it so far. This is another good episode, not one of the best of the season, but one that continues with the good quality we've always really been seeing from the show, I think. And one other thing to note, I know I did miss the crossover with the Vampire Diaries and the originals tonight, but that review will be out at some point later on the 27th, sometime in the afternoon, or maybe later that night, I'm not sure yet. I'll get that out there. It'll probably be one video since it's a crossover, one episode going into the other and stuff, but we'll see how that goes when the time comes. We have actually kind of a nice opening scene, I thought, for a minute anyway. We see Lexa, she's sleeping on this couch, and then, Clarke is sort of sketching her, drawing her. And I just thought that was kind of cute and touching, Clarke watching her sleep. I thought it was nice. Lexa, she's having nightmares of, the people who were in command before her, just, really putting her down for her decision-making, really putting her down for the path she's choosing to go down, to make peace with the Sky Crew, and, just the general direction she's going as this commander and stuff. And so I know this is probably some foreshadowing. She's probably going to, become more and more broken about that, I think. But, Lexa's very strong, even though she does hide her vulnerabilities pretty well. We can see them sometimes, but I think that might be something we continue to see Lexa struggle with, this whole blood must not have blood thing she's been on. I think that's going to get tested more and more. It's definitely happening right now with that, so we'll see how the rest of it goes. Emerson has apparently been captured, and we remember him as one of the mountain men. He was one of the security guards for him. If you guys remember, he was the one who Clarke actually sent back to the mountain as a message to him in season 2, and he somehow managed to survive all these ordeals and stuff. But it's been a while since we all seen season 2, but I remember that part of it. Again, it's after 3 a.m. right now, so forgive me if I do forget some things about the episode and previous seasons. It's just a little anyway. I'm also, I've also noticed the lights are off right now, and that's because I noticed that when my cat's sleeping in here and I turn all the lights on and start talking to nothing from her eyes, she gets more active than that, causes her to want to jump down and start falling at the door again, because she thinks people are moving up and around again and stuff like that. So I figure with the lights off and me talking a little bit more softly, maybe it won't happen as much when she's up there already, but we'll see how it goes. Probably highlights the imperfections on my skin a little bit more too, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. We see Abby, she's just more and more paranoid, rightfully paranoid about how quickly Raven's leg healed, It's sort of like she still has to use her brace, but, she doesn't feel the pain of it anymore. And, of course, Abby being the scientist and, just being automatically, the doctor, I should say. I don't know why I said scientist. Again, look at the time. She's just automatically suspicious of Jaha since he returned. And, she's just, again, being the medical whatever. God, I can't talk right now. She's just really having a hard time believing that all this would happen, practically overnight from their perspective. And yes, it was, because, Clarke, why am I talking about Clarke right now? Because Raven, she had taken that thing to go into the City of Light, and now everything's, all good and all positive and optimistic and stuff. But we'll get into more of that in a few minutes. It's good to see Raven happy, but I can't be as happy for her as I would be if this was actually her in her right mind. And we found out a little more about that in this episode too, which I said we'll get to in a minute. Let's see, we see a grounded child, spotted by Monty's mom and one of Pike's other men. And, the child runs off. They're trying to chase him down, shoot at him and stuff, and Octavia manages to keep him quiet. We also find out that Pike, he wants to clear an entire sector, for farming. He just wants to wipe out the grounders so they can have control of the land. Okay. And apparently they had previously agreed earlier that that sector, that area with the grounders, weren't a threat, but now they're willing to just wipe them out for the farming, basically. Okay. Bellamy actually tries to talk him out of it, but he ends up just kind of rolling with it again, saying we gotta do what we have to do, basically. Again, Bellamy's been kind of frustrating this season. I've been kind of disappointed with the direction they took with his character. Again, I get it, but it just feels a little bit unnatural for him, I think, to just go along with this. Because we've seen in previous episodes or, stories, how strong-willed he is when it comes to things he doesn't believe are right, especially when, lives are at stake and, for the good of his people or, things of that nature. So I don't know why he's so maneuverable here with his viewpoint, or so easily manipulated. I know there's that tragedy with Gina and stuff, but again, we never really had time to invest in that. So it's hard to care about it, even though I do understand what they're trying to go for here. It's still a bit frustrating for Bellamy's character right now, I think. I know it'll probably come around later in the season, but for right now, it's a little He's honestly kind of going down as one of my favorites right now. He was only second to Clarke before, but now I'm starting to put Kane a little bit ahead of him. But I don't know, we'll see where they all go at the end of the season. And Clarke, she wants Emerson to be killed because of his connection to what happened at the mountain, or Mount Weather, I should say. And Lexa sort of questions her, because she says, she wanted to, have them have mercy when, it comes to, her people being at stake, but when it comes to, her own personal vendetta or her own personal life or revenge or vengeance, she's willing to take blood and, not really think twice about it. And that was honestly a good point. Let's see, they get into more of that later in the episode. Again, I have my notes. I took notes while watching this after 2 a.m., so give me some credit. Let's see. You also have Jaha. He's and the AI are getting Raven to do an upgrade to sort of get into the system in Arcadia and stuff. And you could tell something was off about Raven here. Again, it's good to see her happy, but it just doesn't feel like her, See Octavia, she heads to the little village of Grounders to warn them that, Pike and his men are coming. At first they're not wanting to believe her, but the kid she saved earlier, who actually lives there, speaks up for her. But then they end up not believing her anyway, and they knock her out, and they tie her to the ground and stuff, and tie her to the ground. What? They basically, lay her on the ground and then tie her up and stuff, but anyway. There's actually a really good scene between Kane and Abby in this episode. And, Kane just sort of comes to Abby, talking about his frustrations, how he's believing that he's failing, things are his fault. Talks about he's trying to reach out to Bellamy since he's on their best bet to, have other people hear them out with Clarke gone. Bellamy's he was the next most vocal and influential person. But, what's going on with him right now, as Kane said, Pike's influence is strong. He blames himself a little bit. And, as one of the doctors was, or Abby's assistant who we've seen since season 1, he told her to have hope. And at first that came off really nice, but we know that this other doctor is under the City of Light influence too, so he's all optimistic and positive. But I sort of like how Abby looked to Kane, after the guy mentioned hope. And Abby kisses Kane on the cheek, and Kane seems kind of surprised that she did that. And what's that for? She said, let's just call it hope. And if you guys remember one of the trailers they released for the season, we know that Abby and Kane are going to hook up at some point, but I kind of like seeing the start of it. It's felt very natural. I mean, we've seen their relationship develop since season 1, really, so I'm going to be fine with it when it happens, I think. Although I've been annoyed with Abby a lot in the past, but I still understand why she's a key character right now and stuff, of course. Jasper actually catches Raven, installing an upgrade into the system and stuff. And, of course, Jasper's system had been really broken all season. And, Raven talks to him about the City of Light, taking that pain away and how they both suffered for too long. And honestly, we all know that this AI thing isn't what they're trying to make it seem to be. It's going to be some kind of more antagonistic part of the story and stuff. We'll see how it really becomes a threat to more people, but or why it does. But honestly, Jasper's been pretty frustrating this season, so I wouldn't mind if he took the City of Light thing too, just so he could have a change of attitude. But it seemed like he was almost coming back a little bit, but that's just when he's trying to figure out what Raven is doing, but still. So maybe through this it'll give him a sense of purpose again if he decides to try and do something about what's going on here. I don't know. But I think we'll start to see a little bit more life out of Jasper, perhaps. I don't know. He also almost takes it later on, and that's when Abby questions Jaha, and he's trying to coach him through these different responses he's supposed to give, Abby and Raven and Jasper and stuff. And then, Abby says something about Wells, of course, his son who died in I think it was the 4th episode of the show. And the little girl killed him because she couldn't kill Jaha himself. His son Wells, and he somehow forgot who his son was. And, so we're starting to see a little bit of a chink in the AI City of Light armor right now. Because obviously apparently the people who take this, sort of lose a part of themselves in a way, I'm guessing, and they basically become robotic and sort of only serve the purpose to what this AI is trying to do. That's why I see of it right now. Obvious, actually. Okay. Of course we get a scene between Emerson, he's saying that Clarke doesn't really want to face him because it reminds her of her demons, of the people she killed with Mount Weather, and they kind of go back and forth on the problems they caused each other and what exactly happened back in season 2. And as as Emerson sort of points out that Clarke, she basically talked about, it's kind of an interesting parallel with the few ruining everything for the many, and she's trying not to go by that with current problems right now. But then you think, oh yeah, but there's only a handful of some really bad people with the Mount Weather thing, but then I killed so many more of them. That didn't have anything to do with it. But again, that's a different situation. That's one of those things that kind of makes you think about the perspectives for a second, so and how they change depending on how personally invested we are in this. But it's more understandable from what Clarke had to do then, but for the good of her people. But anyway, let's see, not too much more to go here, guys, don't worry. And we see, Lexa's right hand, he talks to Clarke about how he actually wants peace and to try and convince Lexa of this. Clarke still seems pretty stood in her path. Let's see, we talked about Abby and Jaha. And we talked about Octavia warning the Grounders. And let's see. and I forget her name, but this girl dies in the attack because once they're warned about it, they set up for it and things go wrong. A couple of, Pike's men are killed. Bellamy manages to make it out, but this girl inhales the smoke and ends up killing her. Was it the girl that they saved on that cliff back in season 2? No, I'm probably forgetting. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember everything about all these shows, and again, it's after 3 a.m. It's going on 3:30 right now. But still a good scene. And of course, Monty's mom, frustrating as she's been all season since she was introduced, she blames it on Octavia, even though she was just trying to warn them, and she didn't directly cause this trap or ambush to happen. Of course, they still blame it on Octavia for some reason. Let's see. And when it comes to the ritual, Clarke actually chooses to spare Emerson, and it leads to actually a really nice speech by Lexa about how they should rise above. They don't have to be this, blood for blood anymore. This isn't the way they have to settle everything, They don't have to just go to violence for every solution. Of course, obviously, it was much better delivered by the actress and much better written on the show than the way I was butchering the dialogue there. But still, I thought it was a really nice scene. Alicia Debnam and Carrie doing a good job as always. I sort of knew Clarke was going to come around, and it looks like Emerson is pretty surprised by it too. We sort of get his perspective too, why he was so hell-bent on his revenge, because like he said, he lost, 2 people. I think it was, I forget if it was his wife and a kid or 2 kids, but either way, you get it. And of course, he probably knew other people in Mount Weather too. Let's see. And Pike, trying to figure out who's sort of feeding information, or how Octavia's able to know and take care of all these things outside, to sort of support or try to keep making peace with the Grounders, which they don't believe in. And they kind of, it's Kane, but we gotta find proof. We gotta find proof that he's betraying us and stuff like that. So I really hope Kane picks up on what's going on, or he doesn't get caught. I don't know. That should be really interesting to see, though, because I think Bellamy's really going to have to make a choice between the 2 at this point. But we also had Murphy being whipped by Lexa's right-hand man, so it's going to be interesting to see him cross over into the Clarke side of things again, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. But so those are my review. Again, I apologize for the lateness with my work schedule. Again, it's really difficult to balance things sometimes. Working again tonight. Like I said, I'll get my review of the Vampire Diaries Originals crossover out as soon as I can, but again, it is what it is. Sorry, guys. I don't like being late on these things either, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, MoviePilot, and like friendspolded.com. Catch you guys next time, and peace.